Hey, g'day guys, it's Adam from VideoShowMeHow, and in this video today, a little bit different, no DIY. We're going to be doing a full campsite tour. How I live, or camp at least, maybe not live, but how I camp out of the back of the D-MAX. We're at an awesome location over the next few days. We're at the Eagle Ridge. I guess there's the ridge, full Man from Snow River business going on. The Eagle Ridge Bush Camp. We've got a beautiful river down there that's got rapids and all the bits and pieces. Highly recommend. I'll put all the details in the description below. But today I've been getting some sort of DMs from a few people recently going, what's the go with the D-MAX these days? How do you camp out of it? So we're going to get stuck in and do a full tour. We're going to run through all the bits and bobs. So without further ado, let's get started. So first cab off the rank is shelter and getting some, because at where we are now, it is 31 degrees. It is stinking hot. We're going to be getting down in that river down there again after this, that is for sure. So my setup is for a bit of shelter for the old loo. Currently been running this guy here from Drifter Stockton, but 230 have got their new Rask out that very keen to have a look at shortly. Keep an eye on an upcoming video, but definitely something to keep your loo paper dry is always good. So I've been sort of doing that. As far as awning and that sort of stuff, as you can see here, this is probably a really good example. Blazing hot, but we're getting some really good sun shelter going on here. This is the 230 Falcon 270. Been running this guy for a little while now. You would have seen it in all the Cape trip videos, and been super happy with this. Has the full blackout and all of the above, which just does wonders for heat. So definitely been loving this. Been running this for some time. You can check out the video on the channel for the full review of this, but that's what I run as far as 270 goes, as for shelter. That sort of wraps all the way around, like you can see. Perfect spot to put the old Starlink there. And we keep coming around. I can show the other side. This is where it's kind of cool when you run it in that sort of combo with, there's the new Yowie. It works really well because when you come around here, move the old towel, you kind of have extra, you can kind of, if it's raining, you can pretty well walk almost all the way around the whole vehicle and stay dry, and then up the ladder into the Yowie. We'll get to that in a minute. But that's pretty much how I roll as far as shelter goes. Right, so next up, while we're around here, I think we might get stuck into the old sleeping. So I do love a good swag, but the old Yowie is excellent as well. Full video is on the channel if you want to check this out, but this is the favorite setup here at the moment for sure. This is the Yowie AX full rooftop tent. If I toggle around this way, you'll be able to see post that video. You wouldn't have seen that in the video. There's the solar panel on the top, so that's a 200 watt Renogy Shadow Flux, which is pretty decent. Even in it's not getting flat sun at the moment at all, but it's still getting 42 watts and there's no direct sun on it, so that seems to go pretty good. This is the first time I've used it in anger, so keen to see how that goes when we get full sun directly on it. But yeah, this little cheeky unit here, bit of AC action, use that Lifetime power bank, that's for sure. And then it's just up the old ladder. I won't go into too much detail, but plenty of space in here. With the full blackout, when you're all zipped in here, it is black as night, which is awesome. Throw a bit of cheeky AC in the mix, which is just, I can't believe I'm saying that, but throw a bit of AC in the mix and you can, with power, which I'll talk about next, power on the roof and power with these guys, you're generating about 600 watts and that thing's using about 350. So technically you can black out that during the day and make it cold to sleep in 30 degrees, which is just wild. So we are living in the future. So anyway, that is the sleep setup. Now I reckon, seeing though we just touched on it, let's have a look at power, on how we power all this stuff. Right, so power, you've probably seen some of this. There is a full video showing the new Lifetime 400 amp hour video. Keep an eye on the channel for that, because if you've been a long time subscriber, you would have seen this store mod evolve over time. Since the last video though, and you'll see some of this in that Lifetime 400 amp hour video, we've done a few changes. So for those new around here, we are running the store mod storage system. Check out storemod.com.au for that. It's ultimately your 2 storage bins here. We'll have a look at in a sec. We've modified this since the last version, which then gives us a cheeky little panel to have a look through. If I can get the camera to work properly, so we can see all the bits and pieces. Mainly Victron gear, like I said, the full video will go through this in a ton more detail. Couple of MPPTs here. We've got our big links distributor set up here. We've got the DC-DC there, the new XS, the 50 amp version, air compressor and what have you in there, the servo down below, and then we have the new Lifetime 400 amp hour lithium with a 3000 watt Renogy inverter. That's the basics. It is completely and utterly overkill for all of this, wholly and solely acknowledge that, but you know, it's all good fun. So the front panel here as well, this is sort of that command panel that kind of runs everything. So the servo down the back is kind of like the computer. Everything feeds through to this front panel, and then you've got all of the sort of the setup here on the main screen so we can see what's going on. This will give us a view of our 2 freshwater tanks that sit under here, so you can kind of change what you want to look at. So we've still got 40 litres in one, 25 in the other, out of 75, so I've been using a bit. Batteries at 65, we can see solar coming in from the roof, DC loads, which includes our AC, and we're running an extra fridge over there as well, just off AC. We have the actual power points here, and that's switched on from the Renogy inverter. So essentially you're flicking the inverter on, and then you got normal plugs there. This is a really cool thing from Allspark. I used to have the pop-out power sort of plug up the top there, but it was a pain in the butt, especially for the little $7 kettle here. The $7 gets you about 30 centimeters worth of lead, so it was just a pain in the butt to run up there. So I love this setup much better because you can plug it in just like normal household. I'm running full gasless and have been for the last little while since I've had the Lifetime batteries in there. If you're able to do it, I totally recommend considering it, because with induction cooking, you know, these things use less power than you think because they do cycle. Once that pot gets to the right temp, they do cycle. So it is a lot of power draw when it's on, but it does cycle through. And if you've got enough juice to be able to put back in via solar, the setup works really well. Highlights here really are just the same aux beam, so we turn lights and bits and pieces on and off, just all via that, fan, air compressor, all that sort of stuff. Water pump, that's all just via our pump here. So we've got that pressurized water coming out of that 75 litre tanks. We've got solar in there. When we run auxiliary, we've got a bunch of USBs and other bits and pieces as well. So to get power back in, the main 2 suspects are this guy here. These are the Renogy. I'd played with some of the other panels from an orange and black brand. If you've been following the channel, you know which ones, and they failed miserably 2 sets. So I've gone to these new Renogys. They're a 400 watt panel, and they've got this here. So they're like a hard, kind of like a half hard, but still soft, if that makes sense. So I'm hoping these last a bit longer. So far, so good. Probably about 12 months in. They're just a lot more rigid than the full soft versions, and they do a great job pumping out some juice too. I see out of that 400 real world, I'm getting up to sort of that 380, 385 in perfect conditions. So pretty happy with that. So those seem to run, and then I have the new guy on the top of the Yowie, the 200 watt guy there from Renogy. So between the 2 running, you know, you're getting the best part of, you know, 500 plus watts putting back into the system. And if you're driving, you got 50 amps coming in from the alternator. So power wise, definitely sorted. Super happy with this setup. The replacement Lifetime, we used to run the 200s there. I've got discount codes from them as well through those videos. So if you're interested in any of those batteries, check out VideoShowMeHow.com, and in the discount section you'll see that detail from Lifetime. But if you haven't seen that video, it used to be that high with the 200s. We've now got a single 400 from them, a single 400 Lifetime with the inverter still on top. So you can see much more compact. We go straight down the side here from StoreMod. Works really, really well. Next up, let's have a look at storage. That's always the thing. You'll know, once again, if you've been watching the videos, sort of how I've got the full tub set up. You can go watch the video that sort of reviews the full canopy. Very sort of similar, but that'll give you a bit of an idea. Haven't gone to a full canopy, we might go that at some point, but at the moment, loving the tub. The main part of the storage is, of course, the StoreMod system. Cheeky plug there, storemod.com.au. Go check it out if you're interested in this sort of stuff. Fully customized, modular, full internal skeleton, ridiculously strong. That's that sort of unit there. We've got a couple of extra prototypes going on in the back. But ultimately how this works is You've got space in this over leg section, so that has a special cutout that uses the arch there, so it doesn't waste that space. It's got a cutout down the bottom, and then it's modular, so you can attach as many of these as you want, but ultimately we've got 2 storage bins here that just open up, gives you full access. I keep pegs and poles and bits and pieces, bits of extra cable, all that sort of camping jazz in that one. And then in this other one, it's got a cutout from the control panel there. I need to finish that off. We're rushed before this trip, but ultimately in here I keep, you know, coffee bits and pieces, you know, torches, head torches, you know, this sort of stuff, normally the old bug spray and sunscreen, that sort of jazz. And then I've added some extra bits that you'll probably see on stormod.com.au soon, which is around the extra module over the back, so you can run a full air compressor in there. I've got a TJM Pro compressor in there, and we're doing some other stuff with this sort of thing there, so keep it on the website. That's the main thing for sort of permanent storage. The other things I've got is just on the canopy, we've got some bags, so in here I just keep a variety of cables, endo stuff, you know, USB type stuff in here, and then other bits and pieces in there, mainly for solar. So I've got that storage going on. And then for trips, I just try and keep it simple. I don't have drawers or any of that. I try and keep the weight out of it as much as I can. So I've honestly just been using these front runners, even on the big Cape trip. These things have been great, mainly because they're kind of modular as well. Bit of a theme there, just realized with modularity, but these stack really well. They're super hardy. I've got one for food, one for my sort of standard camping box with all the bits you normally need, and I've got a whole bunch of these, so depending on how much or how many people come with, I can just keep loading these up, and they stack really nicely in the back of the tub, and it kind of squares everything off so you make the most out of your space. So that is what I do for storage. So next, cooking. This is one of my favorite things for the old camp. I think there's probably 2 types of campers. There's the super simple pre-cooked food, all of that sort of jazz. I like doing the big cook up, doing a bit of a gourmet experience, as they say. So I definitely like bringing a bit of kit and eating really well at camp, especially if you're like we are here today. We're here for a few days and really setting up shop to enjoy the place. So how I'm cooking these days is basically using induction. I've only got a single. I know you can get doubles, but I just haven't found the need where I'm needing to have pots and pans cracking at the same time. So when I'm on power, induction is the way forwards. Electric kettle sounds crazy, but gasless. I do have gas in there with a couple of little burners, but with the power, this chews a crap load of power. If we flick it on, you'll see there in a minute. There we go. DC load going up to 2.2 kilowasps. So pretty crazy. It does use the juice, but you're boiling water and you're done in a couple of minutes, right? So super lazy, but super awesome. $7. It's lasted about a year. So I mean, it's lasted longer than I thought, but if it dies, I can just nick into the old closest Kmart and buy another. But that's normally where I do cooking. I do love cooking on fire though. So normally what I'll do is have a bit of a setup. This is the stainless table that normally lives up here. You would have seen from that canopy review video. That just drops down, slots in there, and then locks back up out of the way. So it's sort of permanently there, which is pretty cool. Standard pots and pans. The rest of it though is on the old fire. Love getting that if we can. We've got a cheeky little 18 volt chainsaw there, so we've got a bit of fuel happening. And then I normally just I've got a stainless table that cops the heat. We've got a bit of a cheeky brisket going on here. Let's have I better not touch that actually. That was a near miss. Let's she's cooking away. She's been a few hours so far, so another probably 4 or 5 hours will be done. But anyway, brisket on there. We've got a Osprey kettle there, but it is a beast. It's a butch kettle. But that's generally how we do it. Standard sort of, these are super cheap, these things. Love cooking on that. Over the fire, can't be beat. So that is how I do the cooking. I think that probably does it though. I don't think I've missed anything. So let me know what you think. I know some of this is mental, you don't need any of this, all of this, I know, but it's just it's an addiction. It's a problem, I know, but let me know what you think. What parts of this do you reckon is absolutely insane? For example, what would you do differently? How do you do it? What's your preference with this sort of stuff? Let me know in the comments below. Love seeing other people set up and kind of how they get stuff done as well. So let me know in the comments. Keen to see what you reckon. As always, I hope that you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.